family? What's going on? It's Yvette Carnell coming to you as I do every Monday and Wednesday, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. We've changed that time, so pay attention. It's going to be 9:15, so we're only 3 minutes late, and that's what it is. Yes, we have dreams and things and stuff happening. So
I have dreams of being on time sometimes.
We don't. We try. We do try. So that's why we had to move it. We do try, but it's not a machine. That's how I know we're not ready. It's not a well-oiled machine. It don't go that way most of the time. Okay, we do try. So what I want you all to do is what I want you to do every time we get here. I want you to just get yourselves together. Just take some time, get yourself together, get your libations, put some ice in it, do whatever you need to do to get yourself ready to be whatever you need to be or however you need to feel during this episode, during this show. We're going to have some stuff we got to talk about. We don't have a choice. Why am I saying something weird? They always changing stuff on me. I can't live like this. So anyway, YouTube has changed everything. So that's what I get for not coming on beforehand. So please, if you're new here, please subscribe.
Hit that little button.
That little bell. It looks like a little bell. Just hit the little bell for me. Hit the little bell and then you'll get notified no matter when I'm on. It's just a buzz to your phone. Oh, Yvette, so let me go check that out. So do that for me. If you're watching this in a group, share it to your groups. Don't forget to do that. Share it to your Facebook. And go in there when you're fighting with people and defend the ideas. We give you enough. We give enough data on this show for you to be able to defend what we say. Okay. So hey, is that just the Cactus? Hey Cactus. Hey James. Hey Ricky. Hey everybody in the chat room. Also, if you want to donate to the show, go to breakingbrown.com. There you can make a cyclical donation where you make a donation once a month, anywhere from $3 to $10 to $25 to $50 to $100. Please take care of that for me if you want to support the show and what we're doing here. We are supported by Black people for the most part. We get occasionally some droplets, but we like being from our allies of other races, and we appreciate that. But for the most part, we are Black. We're Black. We're Black. We're just Black supported, Black owned. That's who we are. So please take care of that. BreakingBrown.com. You can also make a one-time donation there, or you can go to DonateBrown.com, make a one-time donation as well. You can also subscribe to the newsletter. The newsletter is $2 a month. And it is also, you can subscribe to that at breakingbrown.com. It's where I send links out every Sunday where I tell you and send you stuff, that political education that I feel is important for the African American community. So also please check that out. If you want to do that, that would be a great way as well. $2 a month. We tried to make it a price point that my people can afford. I'm not gonna sell you nothing hyper expensive. So that's just not what I'm into. You can also for free go to subscribetobrown.com. Subscribetobrown.com. You just giving me your email address so that if something happens, I can reach you. A lot of times I just use that too if I'm going to be out of town or something's going to happen. If we're going to have a show on Irony's Facebook page as opposed to mine, I'll send you that notice. Hey, this is what's up. I'm not going to be here. Go to this page. This is what's going on. If I'm going to be somewhere, like I'm going to be on September 11th. I'm going to be in Kentucky. I'm going to be going there. I'm going to be talking to, a bunch of people about a bunch of different stuff. Y'all know about St. Stephen's. Y'all know about Simmons College. I'm going to be up there. We're going to be having some conversations about everything, millennials and stuff that's important to the African American community. So if you're going to be in Kentucky, I would like to see you. Simmons College, St. Stephen's Church. I would like to see you. Dr. Kevin Cosby's doing big things up there. I would like to see you there. If you there, I'm going to be there. Come say what's up. Let's take a picture. Let's have a conversation. So anyway, let's get to what we are talking about today. Let's get to what we're talking about. YouTube has totally just kind of threw me all the way off. But we have to have a conversation. And I wanted to have our only conversation about the Hurricane Harvey. I wanted to have our only conversation about that on Monday. But when you look at it, what the conversation that we had on Monday was about, it was about preparedness for the most part. Those of you who were here know that conversation was about preparedness. It was about preparedness. That's what we were talking about. We were talking about how you got to have water in your house. The things that you can do, it's not a full solution, but we were talking about the things that you can do to mitigate the damage in terms of a disaster. That's what we talked about for the most part when we were here on Monday, right? That's what the conversation was about. Now, what I want to talk about now, I don't want to talk about that. What we're seeing now is the aftermath. And we're seeing who will bear the brunt of that aftermath. That's what we're talking about right now. And what I want to do, and I hope you have your libations ready, because it's going to be a hard time going through some of the stuff we're going to talk about. But we're not going to take it too tough. I want to take you in and bring you out, okay, in terms of what it is and what I think needs to be done. But if you watch the show Monday, you know exactly what we talked about. You have to take care of stuff that is in your wheelhouse. Stuff that you can do, you have to do. If you can have water in your house, which most of us can, you have to do that. The things that you have to do in terms of providing security. Just a recap for the people who weren't here. That's what you can do. Now, there's other stuff that is bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than our community, that is going to play a role as well. And so when I talk about the aftermath, what I'm talking about is what's going to happen now, because that's what we didn't talk about when Katrina happened. We didn't talk about what's the next step. Are these folks going to run us out of here? Are they going to gentrify? Are they going to bring charter schools to the schools? What they going to do? And you have to ask that question, and you have to have that answer. Let's listen. One of the things, and put up clip 1, Army. One of the things that I try to pride myself on is asking the right questions. Because you won't have the right answer if you don't ask the right questions. Let me say that again. You will not get to the right answer if you don't ask the right questions. So if you're not figuring this out, then let's try a different set of questions. You should always do that for yourself. When you're trying to problem solve and you can't get to the answer, change the question. Maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Maybe I need to flip that question around, turn it inside out, move it a little here, a little there. Now, what I'm showing you now is a bunch of ants. Ants are very interesting creatures, but ants understand something that is going on in nature. They understand it very intuitively. And it says fire ants are banding together into stinging horror rafts to survive Hurricane Harvey's flood. This happens every time there's a flood. Every time there's a flood, there's an article about fire ants getting together and grouping together and taking care of themselves. Now, what I'm wondering is why we can't learn nothing from the fire ants.
I didn't know this was a thing.
This is a thing. It is a science. It's a nature thing. You know I like nature. So I'm always reading stuff about nature. What goes on in nature? A lot of awful stuff goes on in nature, like rape and stuff like that. But there's some other stuff you can learn about nature and about how they do business. Now, what if one of the ants was like a little, I'm going to get mine, you got to get yours ant, and he went off by himself and said, I got this. I don't want to be a part of y'all. I don't want to share nothing with y'all. I'm going to go, I got mine, you get yours. He gonna drown. This is what they need in order to float. They know it intuitively. They understand intuitively. Listen, I don't know where you at. I don't know why, but we finna get together. We finna hop about this mound. It's a lot of water coming down, and we finna do what we got to do. You ready? I'm ready. You ready? All right. Okay, we all ready. We cannot be. See, the problem is y'all trying to be like the shark. But see, the shark, in terms of capitalism, in terms of how we live in this country, the shark is the capitalist. The shark is Warren Buffett. The shark is Bill Gates. The shark is Jeff Bezos. We the ant. And ain't nothing wrong with being an ant. Ants will kill you if you try to clean up your yard or something like that. There ain't nothing wrong with being them. Ain't nothing wrong with being the ant right now, especially given where we are in terms of we just came from slaves. What you want us to be? You didn't give us anything. Every time we try to do something, you take it away from us. So what are you talking about? What do you think? See, the reason people want us not to be the ant is because they don't want us to survive. They tell us, hey, guess what, ant? You're a whale. No, we're not a whale. We're not a whale because we just came from slavery. 1940s, convict leasing, right? And every time we developed something, we had a bunch of white mobs get jealous and come and snatch it because they didn't want us to have it. 1919, we talking about Red Summer. We talking about, you look at the number of people lynched. There was a black man pulled out of a saloon who was lynched because he was running a profitable business. So many of the people who were lynched in our community were business owners. People who are making money, building up the community. We talked about Charleston. Don't just think about this in terms of Black Wall Street. There are a number of Black communities, when they became profitable, it just got snatched. We talked about on this show, hey, Black boy, you got a mule, I want that mule. And he can take it and there's nothing you can do. There's no deeds to the land. All of a sudden you had property and it's gone. You go to the courthouse, there's no deed. That's what we live through. So how do you expect us to be anything other than that? Because you have taken everything. And that's where we are. So there is no shame in that, because we have done everything and watched it be stolen, because we're what? Now I think it's 14% of the population. That's where we are. So let's bring it all the way back. The reason I bring these ants up is to make a point about how we need to be collective in our communities, how we need to work together. We're not out of that. Somehow we believe that from 1940 to 2017, we have made enough money to just be off on our own. Because somebody told us we can just be off on our own now. We don't need nobody. What you talking about? We don't need nobody. We can just be off on our own. I'm going to be the next Bill Gates. You got Beyonce saying something stupid like that in the song. And you go, well, me too. We're not there. We're not there yet. What are you talking about? We're not there yet.
The anteater told us.
Yes, the people who eat ants, they just go away. Y'all need to split up. What y'all doing together? Go on and split up, and y'all, the people who want us to fail are telling us you can do it by yourself. Why not? Because they make money off of what you call that when you title loans. They make money off predatory lending. They make money off of everything. They make money off liquor stores when we fail and we need a drink. They make money off of our failure. So they tell us all this stuff so we can fail and come back around. But let me just focus. I want to focus. I'm telling somebody said debt. That's true. Our logo should be the fire ant. And somebody said, but let's just go into this. You know, this, like I said, this lets us know why why community is important. But what I want you to also know is government is community. The reason we form government is to have community. Right? That's kind of, we can't do it all of our own, but we get together, put our money together, we can do stuff. That's kind of what government is supposed to be, but it's been thwarted right now. And so what you see in the aftermath of all of these calamities, what you see is government not functioning for poor people, but more specifically for African Americans. And so what we need to talk about, before I talk about the solutions in terms of Hurricane Harvey, I want to just spend 2 seconds to talk about the non-solutions. Stop telling me you gonna move. I had so many people, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna get my family out of here. You don't have water. But even if you did have water, let me tell you something. There was a very good clip too. There was a very good interview. I don't know if you were able to catch it. It's kind of dense. It's not fun. It's kind of sciencey. Catch it anyway. Sometimes you got to read stuff and do stuff. That's part of being an adult. You got to read stuff and listen to stuff and do stuff that's not necessarily something that you would normally listen or read or be bothered with. That's just life. Be grown. Get busy. Get with it. So he was talking about how, you know, the atmosphere holds more water vapor than it used to hold. Well, what does that mean, the atmosphere holds more water? Well, what that means is that there's no way around it. What it means is that this is not just about hurricanes. This is about thunderstorms in your neighborhood. This is about tornadoes in your neighborhood. This is about tropical storms that come. And it's not about, people say, well, that we've always had hurricanes. It's not about whether or not you have a hurricane or a storm or a thunderstorm. It's about how intense that storm is, as opposed to how intense it used to be. More rain dumped on us than any time in the history of this country. That's what we saw.
I have a completely uncouth question.
Uh-oh.
Is this guy black?
Oh, shit. Who? I don't think so. But I don't know. I don't think so, but I'm not the race police, but I don't think so.
Okay,
what I look like?
Sometimes I get confused. What you two?
Yeah, you look at me, you get confused.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying.
But I got hair. But what? I mean, I don't know what he is.
Oh, yeah. So more moisture in the atmosphere.
Yes, more moisture in the atmosphere means more severe storms. That's what it means. That's a big deal. Because what that means in terms of who we are as African Americans, that means there is nowhere to run. Stop telling me, well, I'm going to go to Atlanta. You know what? You know what we got in Atlanta? You know what we got in Georgia? We got tornadoes and thunderstorms like you would not believe. Let me tell you something. If you sitting somewhere with me and there's a thunderstorm, I'm going to real quick be like, is that a train? Because I'm trained, because all my life I've heard, if you hear a train, that's probably a tornado. That could be a tornado. You got to get flat. I've been told that. I've been trained that. So wait a minute. You want to go somewhere where you're leaving a natural disaster that you're accustomed to come and be a part of a natural disaster area that you're not accustomed to. I'm not saying stay on the shoreline or anything like that. Of course, if you're there, you got to move. Or if you're in these prairie zones, Houston's like what, so many feet below what it's supposed to be. I mean, so I'm not talking about necessarily if you're somewhere where you in trouble. But listen. You're going to come here. You're not accustomed to tornadoes and thunderstorms like that, especially tornadoes. You're going to go somewhere. You're going to go from somewhere you're accustomed to, like you know what to do, and you're going to come here. You don't know what a tornado sounds like. So then you're going to just look up and I'm going to be gone. I heard the train, you didn't. So this is what I'm trying to say. We have to start beginning to understand what it means to be African American and how that relates to our income, that relates to our wealth, and wealth relates to mobility, your ability to go somewhere without uprooting your life. And you know, this is what America is, right? America's capitalist, and you know, moving trucks are going to be expensive for the next 4 months, maybe even longer than that. How you going to pay for a moving truck? What job you going to have? Okay. How are you going to do that? You going to outbid the white people who trying to move? You going to do that? Are you going to outbid them? How you going to do that? With what money? That's always my question. That's always my question. With what money? With what money? And pull up. There's a if you could get that racial dot map, see if you can get that. Where you going to move to? There are only a few places. Remember, we pulled up a racial dot map a while ago to show where black people are. Our people, our tribe, ain't in as many places as you think. We're talking a few major cities. What does that look like? See, this is what happens when you don't think things through. Let me tell you something else. You know, I don't want to go down the list necessarily, but I think I have to. Let's pull that up. But before you let's go to clip number 3 real quick. Because we talk about data on this show, right? So I don't have a choice but to talk to you about the poverty rate, especially the poverty rate for African Americans in Houston. I'm hearing all this stuff about what's going to happen and how it's going to happen and what we going to do and what I got to do with my family. But you don't mention that you're not making any money.
The poverty rate's over 20. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Was that over 20-something%? Right?
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy. And the poverty rate isn't even the rate. Consider that the poverty rate is like a family of 4 and like, what is it? A little less than $30,000?
That's $24,000.
That
means if you have 25,000, you ain't poor.
You ain't poor, but you poor. But the poverty rate don't count you as poor, but you poor. You don't have the money. You don't have you don't have anything. You don't have any mobility. You don't have what it takes to relocate and go somewhere else. And even if you did, you would be like the Katrina people a lot of times who moved. And the only thing it gives you, listen, every time African Americans have moved in this country, it gives us a little pocket of stability for a little while and then it's gone. Same thing happened with the Great Migration. Black people moved from the South because of how we were being treated in the South. We moved over there to Chicago and all those places. And guess what happened?
I'm back.
You back. And the people there, they just got ran out.
Yeah.
They just got ran out. They just got ran out of there. You had Irish thugs and all kind of ethnic thugs who had just came in. They were like, no, they're not going to take our jobs. We've been running for a long time. And not really understanding, and for reasons that make total sense, ain't nowhere to run, ain't nowhere to go. And even if you go there, eventually somebody's gonna run you somewhere else.
My mom moved as a young woman from South Carolina with the Great Migration, moved to California.
Yep.
And I was born in California, and guess what? I'm priced out.
Georgia.
I'm priced out. So I came back. because I can't afford California.
Priced out of America. Not just priced out. We're priced out of, like, let me just, and put that, you can put that, like this, look at this. I want you to look at this demographics.
Make it big or?
You can make it big. Just look at that. Then you can make it big, then you can make it small.
All right. Talk about it right now.
I mean, where y'all gonna go? I'm just trying to tell you, like, this is about community. The last time we talked, I told you, you're only as wealthy. You're only as wealthy as your community. Wealth is a community property. It's not an individual property. So you're going to leave your community and y'all don't have any wealth. You're going to go somewhere and be an outsider somewhere. And how are you going to sustain yourself? How are we going to sustain ourselves? We can't sustain. Now you might move somewhere a little further out of Houston, but how are you going to sustain yourself outside of everything you've ever known? And then how long are we going to be running? You see, and what you have to ask yourself too, you know, the reason a lot of why would black people live in there? Because there was cheaper homes in the floodplains. That's why. Hold
on. I had the map confused.
Oh, you got it confused.
I got it confused. I thought blue was blacks. Green is blacks.
What's blacks, Irony? Oh, green.
Green.
There's not a lot of green on there.
There's not a lot of. I thought we were the blue people.
Who is the blue?
I think blue is probably white people. I don't know, but it's not us.
But not a lot of people up there. That's interesting.
No, we're the green people.
And
so
who are the yellow people?
I don't know. But that just means we're just here, and that we're pretty much in the South, and like spotted around. But yeah, we're the green people in that map. All right.
Yeah. Now, I want to, we know our colors. We know our colors, right? How much green you see there? How much green you see there? Because I think because of media, because of the job media does, we think we're represented in numbers that we're not represented. So we look at this and we say, no, I see this. I watch TV. I see Diddy. I see all this stuff. I see we out there, black people taking over. No, we ain't. 14%. I used to say 13, but I saw the new census data, the most recent. It was like closer to 14. 14% of the population.
Having babies though.
Not really. Black women are like in terms of, I mean, you know, well, there's some good data on that, but you know, not even in terms of more than white people. But that ain't saying a lot. Everybody having babies more than white. But this is where we are. And you have to understand where we are. And we live in the floodplains because it's cheap. Now, what if they say we can't live in the floodplains no more either? That's a catch-22 because that means you can't have cheap land. What you going to do with expensive land? Right? So what are we going to do with that? And put up clips 4 and 5 for me, Army. What are we going to do? What are we going to do if there's no more cheap land to be had? You know, there's something, there was an article, and I'm going to read from it, which talked about, you know, it says, just like Katrina, it's in the Metro UK, Black Americans will be hit hardest by Hurricane Harvey. And one of the things it says is this, and it's very interesting. It says, you know, in terms of, this is about your wealth position. It says cheaper lands tends to also be in the floodplains in flood-prone areas. Car and home ownership are measures of short-term and long-term resilience with respect to disasters like Hurricane Harvey. And just as with Hurricane Katrina, people of color in Texas are far less likely to own cars that might enable them to evacuate or homes on which they can claim insurance and rebuild later. Okay? Now listen to this. I want you to Black Americans are also much more likely to live in undervalued neighborhoods, which will secure fewer recovery dollars down the line. Which are in turn less likely to be able to return and regroup, and so are vulnerable to gentrification, as was the case in New Orleans after Katrina. Because we don't have money, we can't come back and regroup. We can't come back here. And sometimes, like I said last time, you can't come back here. You can't come back here because there's nothing to come back to. You have a home. It's like I said the last episode, you have a home, but everybody in your neighborhood don't. What are you coming back to? You don't have a neighborhood no more. So what they do, they snatch it. See, this is the history of our life. Let me let you understand. The history of our lives.
Gather around, children.
The history of our lives is being stolen from stolen labor to stolen property. stolen lives. That is the history of where we come from. And this right here, this gentrification, we can't rebuild. Well, they didn't come back. We can't come back. So we either didn't have flood insurance or didn't have enough, or we were the only one in the community that had flood insurance, so we don't have a community no more. So we go and we're somewhere else with somebody else. So we have been uprooted again. And so you're able to snatch that land and gentrify it and sell it to hipsters, white hipsters, for a little bit of nothing. That is the story of our existence in this country. Being stolen from is the story of our existence in this country. And it says, let me just go on with the Metro article one time. So beneath the narrative of resilience and unity that the mainstream media and the U.S. government and authorities have done their best to circulate, the reality is that the race and class disparities will determine the impact of the storm as dramatically and unjustly as they did in 2005. Let me just break it down for you. This whole idea that people have that resiliency is something in the heart. And if you're strong and you're courageous, you can rebuild, you can be resilient. No. Resiliency, your ability to be resilient, is defined by your wealth position. And you can be as strong, you can be as tough as you want to be. But if you have a messed up wealth position, that's where you sit. That's where you are. You can put it up now. And there was another article from in Daily Coast, and the title of it was Hurricane Harvey poised to disproportionately impact blacks in Texas, but no one is talking about it. And the first line for me was very interesting. It said roughly 1,400 died because of Katrina. Most of them were poor, elderly, and black. Almost 10 years later, the city had nearly 100,000 less black residents, and their incomes were substantially less than before the hurricane. Meanwhile, the white population had decreased slightly but was wealthier. Let me say it again. The white population had decreased slightly but was wealthier. Child poverty was at 40% and violent crime remained persistent. The city may be considered recovered, but it continues to have deep inequality along race and class lines. Texas and Hurricane Harvey aren't likely to be exceptions. And since no one is even talking about the potential racial and socioeconomic impact of this storm, it's doubtful that local and government officials will be thinking about it during the cleanup either. We're being set up again. That's it. We're just being set up again.
So let me get those numbers straight. It sounded to me like white people made money off the storm.
Yeah.
Like, is that off of Katrina?
But think about it. Just like now, Army, when you think about it, the insurance companies might take a little hit in the stock market, but they got capital.
Right.
The ones without capital is us. And I'm not saying they're not poor white people. That's not the point. But I'm talking about how we're talking about money in black people's pocket. This is us. They make money because they can come in and take that land. That's like free land.
So yeah, it cleared off the deck for them, I guess.
Yeah. Clear us out. Come in and spray some Negro, be gone.
And now when you come back, if you have just a little bit of extra money, you could also grab up their property too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're white and you come back and you have a little bit of extra.
You can't even come back if you black. Your people didn't rebuild.
Okay.
So you're going to rebuild that by yourself?
No.
And then what power you have when they come and tell you they want that land? You don't have any power. You just by yourself. Our power is in community. We don't have no community. Everybody got scattered. They scatter us all the time. That's the story of our lives. But let me just say something else about what's coming. Let me just say something else about what's coming in terms of Harvey. Put up clip number 6, Army. Can I tell you something? The electricity is still off for a lot of people. Not only that, you expect it to be off after a hurricane, right? No. It's going to be off for a very long time. It's going to be off for months in these places. Like, even if you can go back to your home. 6. Even if you can go back to your home.
Yeah, that's up.
Oh, okay. Your electricity. Because an electrician has to come in and certify your home. So you may go months without electricity. That's what these people are going through. Right? And I'm just trying to give you a taste of what they're going through. Now, also what they're going through, healthcare. You can put that one up there, Ivan. We have a botched healthcare system in this country. What that mean, Yvette? We don't have universal care. I don't make any bones about saying I'm in favor, just like the most of Americans are. If you take the Gallup polls, most Americans are in favor of universal care. But since we don't have universal care, we have these networks. That's a problem. That means we have small networks, you might go somewhere after this happens, you have to get relocated. You go to an aunt house, an uncle house, and then you ain't got no network provider. That's an extra burden. So now, even if your house survives, you don't have no electricity. You go somewhere, you ain't got no doctor. See, this is why this stuff is important. You say, well, I like my doctor. Well, how much do you like your doctor after a hurricane? You can't get to him. You don't even know where he is. And then you go to an area where you do have a doctor and you can't do nothing. How does that feel? See, this is why universal care is important. You go anywhere. You got a social security number, go where you want to go. It don't matter. You're an American, we make sure you have health care. That's not what we are, though. We're not there. And that's why this kind of stuff matters. That's why government matters. That's why you can't go it alone. You're not at your job. You're gonna pay out of pocket for all this stuff that you need. But that ain't the beginning of it. Electricity, health care, that's not even where it stops.
Hold on, and Antonio just brought up a point. When people start coming back, who gets those electricians' contracts? It's not going to be us.
Not us.
Not going to be us.
We waiting in the house with mold.
Yeah.
We're just sitting there, and you can't kill. Listen, black people, don't you try to kill no mold with Clorox. It don't work. So we sitting up in a moldy house, developing all sorts of internal problems because we don't have the money to do what we need to do. And it ain't no fault of our own. Of course they have money. What are you talking about? Of course we don't. What are you talking about? We're regular people, working people. You go without a job, you don't have no money. We have no wealth to get passed down. It was stolen. What you mean? So, and I just want to say one other thing. Put up clip 10. I mean, we got other problems too. Before I even get to the other stuff, I don't want everybody to think our problems exist in a vacuum. Like, well, these are your problems and you don't have no other problem. No, we got other problems too. We just don't talk about them as much. While all of this stuff is going on, don't forget or don't believe that the Confederacy is dead. It's a boom for Confederate flags. And you know what else? A lot of those people who were picking up people and doing all that stuff with their boats was probably Trump voters. They know how to do. These people who believe what they believe in terms of survivalism, they out there.
The whole U.S. is Georgia.
Yeah.
No,
they out there.
The South is the whole U.S., yeah.
They believe in like going out there fending for yourself and doing all this stuff with a boat. Meanwhile, we don't have no boat. I saw like 2 more black people with boats. We don't have them. And so you're gonna ask the Trump voter really to pick you up. And he picked it. I'm sure some of the people picked up black people and everybody else were Trump voters. But what does that say about the ability to survive anything? So, it's put up clip 8, Iron. You can just put up clip 8 and 9 back to back. I just want you to, I'm just trying right now to put this catastrophe in context. That's all I want to do. Before I hone in on what I'm talking about, I want to put it in context. You can put it however you want to put it up, but I want to put this in context.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Put that up.
I'll put it big because that's a big number.
Put that up.
All right, it's up. Go.
Harvey to be costliest natural disaster in U.S. history. Estimated cost of $160 billion. Who you think pays for that? Trump been cutting everything. He's been cutting everything down the line, zeroing it out, half of it out. Who pays
I'm sure
for that?
Ted Cruz is gonna. Nope.
So, yeah, Ted Cruz didn't want to pay. Well, now he want money, but you don't want to pay for Sandy, right? He's a horrible person, though. He's a horrible person. But and put up clip 9.
Here's this.
Just put 9 and 10. Like let's just go down the list, black people. Let's just go down the list of what we're working with. Let's not play games with each other. Okay, what is it? We're nowhere near prepared for the ecological disaster that Harvey is becoming. Why? If you don't know, there's a lot of petrol. There's a lot of chemical plants, all kind of stuff. Like Houston decided they want a whole lot of garbage near them.
There's no zoning in Houston. So
no zoning.
Just
put your stuff up wherever. It can be in my backyard. We don't care.
A dump site next to a liquor store, next to an elementary school. It's all kind of...
And then if something happens, well, we don't know. I mean, that was I'm gonna put the clip up later, but that was a talk about, well, we can't control the explosions. We've lost refrigeration, so if it's not refrigerated, it might explode. Don't know what you want me to do. I'm just a business. Business don't have to be. Individuals got to be all kinds of responsible. We don't have to be. Business don't have to be. That's what I mean. You know. Check your messages out. But yeah, look at this. I want you to look at this. Put up this next picture too. Put up that one too. Put it all up. Ecological disaster. And let me just. But let me just read something real quick. And this was from a Charles Pierce article, right? And I just want to put it up. I just want to say this. You have to talk about the failure of government and government officials. It says the storm was unprecedented, but the city has been deceiving itself for decades about its vulnerability to flooding, said Robert Baird, a member of the National Academy of Engineering and UC Berkeley emeritus civil engineering professor who studied hurricane risk along the Gulf Coast. The city's flood system is supposed to protect the public from a 100-year storm, but Bayer calls that a 100-year lie because it is based on a rainfall total of 13 inches in 24 hours. That has happened more than 8 times in the last 27 years, Bayer said. It is wrong on 2 counts. It isn't accurate about the past risk, and it doesn't reflect what will happen in the next 100 years. Your government officials are letting you down. How do you not understand that? Listen, this image that we have on right now, that shows you that the city is falling apart. The infrastructure. Like if you go check the timeline, the infrastructure is falling apart. They're telling you that the infrastructure in Houston is falling apart due to Mother Nature. Water is the strongest thing. It will hydrate your body and it will drown you and it will weigh you down. It will do all of that. That's what water does. And that's what water is doing right there in that tweet. That's what's happening to us. That's what's happening to you. So one of the things, there's another, put up that one too. It's just another problem. One of a million problems we don't have money to solve.
Yeah.
It's a legal crisis.
Oh, yeah. But, we all have lawyers, right?
Nothing to say, Aaron. You good? Nothing to say. We all got lawyers, right?
If you have lawyers, you do fine. But if you don't.
Yeah, who you got on retainer? I just want to put it in.
We have 1,500 people watching. I'm sure
I'm sure they all got somebody on retainer.
They all have someone on retainer.
And more than one attorney. We're talking real estate attorneys. We're talking real estate attorneys. We're talking, we're talking, I don't know what other kind. You got all kinds of attorneys. I mean, people are talking about going back to your apartment and getting evicted. You have to be able to take legal action against your landlord.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? All of these costs, from the healthcare we talked about to the land, all of this stuff is mounting costs.
When your boss tells you that, we got to let you go now.
Yeah, our company's messed up too, and nothing we can do.
Sorry.
Lovely having you here.
Good luck getting that unemployment.
What do you do? And so I'm trying to paint a picture, but what I'm trying to show you, even in terms of Houston, got a substantial black population. And what I'm trying to show you is that when this stuff happens, we disproportionately bear the cost. And what I want to get to, and I'm about to get to, is what to do about bearing the cost and why we bear the cost. I'm going somewhere. I'm always going somewhere. I'm telling you that we bear the cost. What do we do about bearing the cost? And I want you to understand specifically why we bear the cost. That's going to hurt your heart. But whatever.
I figured it out, how we bear this cost.
How?
We go to our stars. You know who's from Houston? Made his name in Houston? Akeem the Dream Olajuwon. He'll bail us out. Akeem Olajuwon.
I don't even remember that name.
Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. They will bail us out.
You know what they've been doing? They've been doing $25,000. Started with Kevin Hart. I saw Diddy do it. I think I saw The Rock do it. Listen. I don't have no problem. I salute you. I'm happy, Kevin Hart. I'm happy that all of y'all are giving money to Hurricane Harvey. I am. In the deepest, darkest cackles of my heart, I am happy that you are giving money. I really am. And I mean that sincerely. But we also had what? We also had this football player. Who was he from? The Houston what? Somebody tell me what this man is from. The Houston somebody who done got like to the $10 million mark, ain't he? In terms of what he's raised.
Okay. That's a long cry from 160
$25K. T.I. is long.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We don't have the capital.
We don't have the capital.
Your stars don't have the capital.
But
they
Beyonce?
just be lying. They try. I'm not telling you they try. Beyonce got a $55 million mortgage. I'm telling you they try. She said she gonna help, but that's a hell of a mortgage.
You're not making that number up?
No.
I don't care who you are.
Look it up.
I don't care who you are. You don't have money.
They said it was like $88 million, but she's only gonna have to pay. They only gonna have to pay $55 or something like that. I don't even know if y'all gonna be together long enough to pay that mortgage. What's wrong with y'all?
I don't care who you are. You don't have $55 million.
Go look. Look it up. They gonna pay that. They got a mortgage.
That means Beyonce's cash poor.
Let's have an aside real quick.
We got to talk about that.
You don't need a mortgage like that because you making money off of your music, your body, your celebrity. You need a mortgage like that when you making money. I own these many acres of orange juice acres, and I'm selling them to McDonald's and Burger King. I got contracts. That's when you need a $55 million mortgage because you got all this stuff. You can't be making money off your body and your voice because that goes away when you go away. Royalties ain't that much, baby girl. And I ain't heard nobody. Y'all talk so much about Jay-Z and 444, but I ain't heard nobody really bumping that stuff. I be around black people, and nobody really thinking about that no more. That's gone. Now, back in the day when Big Pimpin' came out, I couldn't get away from it. I know when stuff's popular and when it's not. You can't play me talking about you went platinum. I know better. So stop trying to act like I don't know what I know. But y'all gonna learn. Who needs a $55, $85 million house? You better get somewhere and sit down. You don't have no resources. Those kind of houses are people with resources. Right? So, I mean, it is what it is.
What's the taxes on something like
that? I don't know. I don't want to know. How many tours you want to go on, Jay-Z? You're an old man. You look rickety. You going on 50.
On stage.
You going on 50. You going around with a Yankees hat on. Get some. You can't get nowhere and sit down. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get them where and sit down because you can't. So let's put up. I want you to put up. We're gonna get back on task.
Taxes.
We're gonna get back on task.
So much money.
No, but they need the house. They got to show off.
That's so much money every year.
You should really look at the house. You should really. I mean, you should take the time when you should look at that house.
Is there anything that makes money in the house?
No. It doesn't make money in that house.
Like I said, orange groves, or maybe it's under some oil.
No, maybe I would think maybe it's a winery or something on there. No, ain't no winery. Ain't nothing on there.
Nothing on there that makes money. So that's just taxes coming out every year.
Yeah, that means you got to keep doing what you're doing. You better have lemonade version 3, 4, 5, 6, and black women better buy. And Jay-Z better get on stage with his lanky self and wiggle around, and somebody will be like, Jay-Z's deep. He talking about how we need to have credit. You better keep doing that. You better make an album every 6 months with that house. I'm just telling you. But let's get to this. The legacy of environment. Let me just reframe this because I got it. Me and Iron started talking about something. Let's just reframe this for a second. I'm talking about who will bear the brunt of this. What I want to show you is that we already bear the brunt. There's no question of who will bear the brunt from Katrina. But this story from The Intercept about Beaumont, Texas, about what happened in Beaumont, Texas, really breaks down who will bear the brunt and why. And what I want to tell you after this is over with is why we bear the brunt. But I want to give you some context for this story about what that looks like for us and why it looks that way. And this is environmental racism. You know, the beginning. I love some good writing. I love a good introduction sentence. And the introduction sentence started with this man who you see in the picture right here, and he's sitting on his porch, and he's sipping a beer, he's talking to his friends, they're talking about LeBron James and the playoffs, the NBA playoffs. All of a sudden I hear boom, all run their separate ways. They know what it is. They cover their mouths. He goes in the house. They go home. And what was the boom? You see flames and all kinds. What was the boom? Well, they're near Exxon plant. The Exxon plant booms from time to time. It explodes. just what happens in black neighborhoods. Plants just explode in Beaumont, Texas, accordingly. Apparently. That's what happens. So it smells like rotten eggs. It produces sulfur. But in addition to that, this plant, which is an Exxon plant, which produces some type of oil, crude oil. It's called like sour crude or something. In addition to that, it also produces stuff that causes cardiac arrest. It's neurotoxins. All sorts of stuff it produces. But we're supposed to have an EPA that deals with that, right? It says produces 135 chemicals that are neurotoxins, cardiac arrest, etc. Exxon has not, according to the article from the Intercept, been in compliance with the Clean Air Act. Your government's supposed to, that's what regulation is for.
Yeah, yes.
To keep us healthy, to make sure we're not congested, make sure we don't die of cancer because of these companies. That's what government is for. What we're seeing is that your government isn't doing its job, but let's continue. In 2000, the EPA was asked to investigate. A long time later, years and years later, I think they wrote a letter. And no real changes happened. And it said between 2000 and 2016, 400 million pounds. Let me say that again. 400 million pounds of pollution were released into the air. It was so many, like you can file a complaint to the Civil Rights Division. The Civil Rights Division of the EPA. But guess what happened during the Obama administration? Y'all love, so many people, black people love Obama. Guess what happened during the Obama administration? The EPA stopped checking this email for civil rights complaints. For like over a year, the EPA didn't check its email for civil rights complaints. So let me tell you something. All you white liberals out there who expect me to be so upset. Oh my God, look what Trump is doing to the EPA. I can't believe it. We need EPA. EPA ain't been there for us for a minute. You didn't make them stop. You didn't make them stop poisoning our communities. You didn't make them do anything. Let me go on. The Obama administration did release a toolkit to help them handle cases, but nothing happened. From 1996 to 2013, civil rights cases languished. We went years and years without you even addressing our civil rights complaints. That's not what the law says, though. The law says you're supposed to address our complaints and send us a letter and you're supposed to come down and investigate. But that's not what happened. You didn't do that. Right? This is under Bush and Obama. Took them 10 years to respond. People coming down with asthma, cancer, cardiac arrest. 10 years to respond. So much so that the man in this article said it don't do no good to complain. And he right. If you came and said, hey, it's been too long, you took too long, EPA to complain, you know what the EPA did? They just shut the case. Well, okay, ain't no case to complain about. They'll take care of that. And it wasn't just in Beaumont. It was the incinerator. There was an incinerator in Flint that they found was discriminatory in terms of the community it was around, right? The EPA released that letter, but had no recourse. That's like telling somebody, like you're guilty, like kind of what the DOJ did. Department of Justice did in Ferguson. Yeah, you're guilty of racism, but we're not going to do nothing about it. What's the point of you telling people they're guilty of something if you're not going to do nothing about it? Okay. 22 years later, too, the woman who was an activist in that community and was trying to bring attention, she died of cancer while this was happening. That's your EPA. And Texas companies face no penalties. Texas companies face no penalties for poisoning largely African American communities. None. You know, and so what I want to say is this, and this is going to be this is what I want to end with, and this is the big deal. When you ask me why, Yvette, why don't these people value black life? Why don't these people, we're citizens and what I'm telling you is that we're in a space now, and it's a very dangerous place to be in, where we don't matter. And we have mattered less right now than we have mattered in the history of this country. And you can say to me, well, Yvette, we used to be slaves. Surely, Yvette, we matter more now than we mattered then. We were slaves. Let me tell you something. A slave could cost you anywhere up to $40,000. Are you worth $40,000 now? Are you worth 20? Are you worth 10? Are you worth 5 to these people? The problem that we're having is that they have deemed us irrelevant. That's why they have deemed us, these people matter not at all. That's why they can do anything in our communities. They can come in there. They can put whatever they want in there. They can treat us how they want to treat us. They can kill us and murder us and not even check the email at the EPA. How do you not even check the email at the EPA to even see what we're complaining about? You're telling us we don't have a government no more. And instead of doing something about that, we're telling ourselves, I'm going to be like Diddy. I'm going to just make my own way. You cannot make your own way against a power of Exxon plant that is poisoning a whole community, a whole city, a whole county. There's nothing that you can do about that as a one person. So you know what our charge is right now? Because we've been replaced on every level, right? And we've talked about this on this show. What we've talked about on this show is this. In terms of labor, we've been replaced by Mexicans. Right, and the illegal labor. In terms of corporate jobs, we're being replaced by blacks who have been imported here from the Caribbean and from African countries. So when you get replaced on every level, you are redundant. We are a redundant group. We are a redundant labor force. And the reason why we're redundant is because we haven't fought for our rights. We haven't said, no. We have labor in this country. You are not going to import labor here when we're here and ready to work. You're not going to do it. No. You're not going to do the things that you want to do. You're not going to import somebody from Trinidad at Facebook or wherever to speak for me about diversity when I can speak for myself. When the people who fought for diversity were African Americans. We have not fought for our tribe. And I'll tell you something else we haven't done. We have not separated the wheat from the chaff. You're only a strong community if you kick them weak ones out.
Hey now.
No, not weak in terms of economics. I'm not talking about poor people. Poor people are some of the strongest people I know. I'm talking about, listen, we have standards. You have to put the standards down and say, this is what we are. This is who we are, and you have to abide by it. If you say we have to be a community, you can't be running around talking about, I'm going to be like Jay-Z, I'm not concerned about y'all, and still expect when the stuff goes down to come be like, hey, can I get some of what y'all got going on? We got to be a community. A community means we abide by the same principles. Okay. You can't be an individualist and a super capitalist on one day and think you're going to be Jeff Bezos, and then when all of your stuff goes left, you come crying to me and say, well, Yvette, my hustle kind of fell off and I just need a little bit of help. No, you got to be in it with me. And we haven't set up, regardless of what, we can have a debate. Me, Iron, you, we can all have a debate in terms of what our standards and values should be. But we cannot have a debate in terms of we have got to have standards and values. We have got to have something. We have got to have something that binds us together. We have lineage. We have that already. But we have to say, okay, because of the lineage that we have devised a plan. And that plan means we have certain values. And everybody who is with us has to adhere to that. You cannot tell me this stuff doesn't matter. You cannot tell me that being collective as a group doesn't matter. And then expect to be a part of the same thing that I'm a part of. And so there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. But you have to, listen, this is about black politics. I don't know how else to make it to you. All of us have to make sure that we matter. Like, if you don't matter to your government, what are you worth? And what our government is showing us that we don't matter. Even when you saw the Trump budget, the way he zeroed out all this stuff with HUD, we talk about Medicaid, and his tax reform he's talking about, he's zeroing out stuff that matters to us. showing us that we don't matter to our government. It didn't begin with him. It's ending with him. But it began a long time ago. And it was expedited with Obama. So what we have to do is organize in a way that we bring force to bear to our government and say, hey, listen, I don't know what you think you're doing, but this country was built on our labor and we matter. Saying I'm going to hustle my way out of this, it's not going to get you anywhere. You cannot hustle your way out of systemic failure. That's like that ant at the beginning of the show trying to wiggle his way out of the other ant. Say, I'm gonna get this on my own. He's not gonna make it. We have, even in terms of, if you look back, see what I really want people to do. Look back at the labor movement. That was collective effort. The reason they killed labor is because what you gonna do by yourself? They know you can't do nothing by yourself. They get it. We're the ones who don't get it. So, in terms of when we talk about solutions, the first solution is understanding our tribe and working together as a tribe, as a group of people who have a shared lineage, a shared history, a shared culture, and saying, what are we going to do collectively to make our government understand that we built this and we have rights and you cannot come into our community and poison us. It's kind of embarrassing in a way that, all the rest of us are, just having normal conversations while other members of our tribe are just being poisoned. Yeah. And we act like we go watch the football game, we're like nothing's happening. And that's our tribe. And the government is poisoning. The government is not responding to their emails. The government is not responding to their cries for help. The government is not responding to explosions in their community. And we are acting as if nothing happened. And I think in terms of when I talk about standards, that's what I mean. That's integrity. We have to have a certain level of integrity with each other. Yeah, I'm going to support my people. My people going to support me. That's what we do. That's what we do as a community. I don't know what you're talking about, but we go to the meetings and the town halls. And if they call us from another community, we go over there and we take time off. And this other community over here that ain't have to take no time, they gonna send money. We gotta start doing that. We gotta start building networks and an infrastructure of people that help each other. Okay, you gotta go do that, and you got time off, but you don't have paid time off. Well, this Breaking Brown chapter over here gotta send money over there to do that. That's what we gotta do. We cannot. Before I go to the phones, all I'm gonna say, people, is that we cannot go it alone. I don't care what capitalism has told you. I don't care what hip hop has told you. We need each other. And I don't know how else to say it. But that's what it is. And when you talk about a solution, that is the beginning of the solution. There is no solution without collectivism. Anybody who tells you, well, what you mean there is no African American community, that person's an enemy. I don't care. Like, that person is trying to splinter us off and say that we don't exist as a community. And that's a problem, because we do. We have a shared history, we have a shared lineage, we have a shared plight, we have a shared economic situation. We're the same in terms of our wealth and our wealth positionality. We're the same in terms of where that wealth positionality derives from. That's who we are. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna let Irony say what he gotta say and go to the phone.
I think you laid it down.
We don't have to have. The standards are the standards. We don't have to have, like, I'm not telling you just to kick people in the neck. I'm telling you integrity matters. I'm telling you helping each other matters. It's something we used to have, we don't have no more. And some people can't have it. There's some people gonna have to be kicked to the curb because they don't understand. They have bought into this thing that I'm gonna just do what I gotta do. Okay, go do that. Just don't fall back over here when times get rough.
Yeah, there's a lot of narratives that work against that, right? Like the whole idea that you gotta escape the ghetto. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, then, like, why you gotta escape?
Like, why you gotta, like?
Why can't you just work a job?
How can that be a serious fix? Escape. Everybody can't escape, because that's not how the way, like.
But everybody believes they're gonna be the one. They don't care if everybody. See, that's the thing, we don't care. Like, we gotta start caring about everybody. We don't care about it. I just want to be the one that gets out. That's not good enough, because you need a community. Remember what last show? Wealth is a community property. If you don't hear anything else I said here, wealth is a community property. It's not an individual property. It's just not individual. Like I said, you can have flood insurance and be the only one there. You can be a rich African American and be in a white neighborhood, and you'll be Dr. Dre getting pulled over, getting handcuffed because a white man in front of your house decided that you were a problem. That's what happens when you're the only one. You don't want to be the only black person with money. That is a recipe for a psychological problem. You're going to need therapy. You're going to be drinking too much. You're going to sniff a little cocaine. That's not what you want for your life. You want your people to have it too, so you can go have dinner with them and not have everybody begging you and asking you, can you do this for me? And kissing your butt and not telling you the truth because you're the only one with money. That's not a life you want to live. I don't. I want to eat with my people. I want everybody to eat good. I don't want to just be eating good by myself. What good is that? Isolate myself.
You'll go crazy.
Oh, yeah, go crazy, get high.
Yeah. No, you don't want that.
So.
All right.
So we're going to get to the phones.
Yeah, we got these phones.
See what y'all got to say about this whole hurricane and everything that's been going on. It's been an interesting time. An interesting time we got going on. It's an interesting time. We got hurricane, and then ain't there another hurricane on the coast? Irma. Ain't her name Irma? I hope Irma spins off into this ocean. But I'm just saying, that's a lot to be going through. That's a lot to be going through, Irma. You coming this way? We prefer you get your meals as well.
Hello, you on?
Hey, caller.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hello?
Hey.
Good evening, Yvette. I finally got through.
Uh-huh.
But I enjoyed you. I
Thank
want
you.
to commend you for how far you've come with the show and what you're trying to do with your whole, endeavor. You and Army work as a team. I really appreciate that. I'm here every Monday and Wednesday whenever you're on.
Thank you.
I've seen your numbers increase dramatically. I try often, as much as possible, to read all of the newsletter. Sometimes you don't, but you do have some heavy hitting articles in that newsletter.
Yeah.
And I recommend that everybody take advantage of the information, the political education, because that is political education. You are providing one of the greatest services because we have a vacuum right now as far as black leadership and educating the black populace about what's really going on with us collectively.
I agree.
So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
For all that you do. And on Houston, you hit it all. You touched every single point about Houston. This is Adiku. You touched every single point about Houston, as far as this disaster is concerned.
Thank you.
We're going to suffer. And you compare Katrina, you did not miss a point. Many people are going to try to profit off of Houston. I just hope we don't get caught up in the whole profiteering scheme of trying to, come up off of Houston.
Yep.
Many people are going to come up with these finance schemes, these different, we're raising money for Houston. Stop. Because that's going to come back and bite you in the ass, okay? Whoever jump out there on that kind of, I don't want to use a lot of profanity or cursing, but whoever jump out there on that scheme, thinking they're going to come off of Houston, off of our people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, always.
I say to everybody in the room that's listening, in the chat, in the session, be careful about donating your money to talking about raising money for our people who are going to be suffering big time after this disaster.
Thank you. I know. I appreciate that.
So, Kim, I appreciate you too, and I appreciate Army too. Okay?
Thank you. Army thanks you as well. I appreciate that. We do what we can from where we are.
So
that's what you can do.
The young man spoke about a newsletter. Tell the people about the newsletter.
The newsletter, I told you the newsletter comes once a week, every Sunday. The newsletter comes every Sunday. It is a list of articles that I found throughout the week that I think are good for African American political education. And I send those out on Sunday. It's $2 a month. You can go to breakingbrown.com and get the newsletter. And you can be up to speed in terms of what we talk about on the show, and you won't be left behind. So it is what it is. Go to breakingbrown.com and get it. And like I said, your $2 will be well spent every month.
I think I got my man. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello? You on?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Hey, what's going on? I just got here, got on the road, but I've been listening to you guys kind of, oh man, God, this is so, my entire view, my entire theology, if you will, worldview, whatever you want to call it, it jumps off from Martin Luther King's last speech in Memphis, where he said, either we go up together or we go down together. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people didn't really understand what Dr. King was about. And I point, Bill, as a black person, then it is because of you. There is something wrong with you. If you can't pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, never mind the fact that some people don't have boots or much less bootstraps, then there is something wrong with you. Let me give you a new definition for narcissism. Narcissism is the inability of one to see outside of their set of experiences. Let me say it again. The definition of narcissism is the inability of one to see outside of their experiences. So what you have a lot of our wealthy African Americans are doing, they are offering up these prescriptions for success that are very unrealistic, and they seem to believe that they are where they are because of their own hard work. Take away the gentleman getting sick. What's the network the brother, the white guy got sick at? They put Oprah Winfrey on, and all of a sudden the ratings took off. Take away him, we never hear Oprah Winfrey. That guy doesn't get sick, we never hear of Oprah Winfrey. I could go right down through that with a lot of successful black people and show you how you take these one incidents of pure luck and none of them will be where they are. So this notion of selling black people, that you are in this state because of your own doing. I've actually heard some preachers, some black preachers say that black people should have known to prepare for the storm. They should have known to leave Houston. They should have known, why would anybody, I mean, these are preachers that are actually saying this. Never mind the research that came out a few weeks ago that said Christians, and particularly many black Christians, are much more likely to blame people for their state of affairs than to believe that they're in the situation because of something systemic. And I'll leave you on this. Anybody who pay very close attention to people, I call them perch pontificators, people who sit on their perches and talk about what's wrong with us as a people as though it is our fault. One, can you name any problem that black people have that white people didn't cause? That's the first part, the first thing. Can you name any problem that black people have that white people, didn't cause? That's a major question, because you go back to redlining, 1947, fair housing, all that stuff that trapped black people in the communities we were raised in. And then you have to ask also the question that whenever you hear somebody talking about what people need to be doing, this is something you need to do. You need to ask them. You need to be very leery of people who speak more to what individuals must be doing versus what systems of oppression that put those people in those predicaments need to be doing. So whenever I go to a black church or whenever I go to a speech and I hear someone talking about personal responsibility or individual response and all that crap, well, it's much easier to talk to black people about what they need to be doing. It's much harder. It's a much bigger target to talk to the individuals of white supremacy who put black people in those situations. And whenever I hear people doing that, like Oprah does that a lot, Steve Harvey does that a lot of our, positivist people, anytime I hear people doing that, I automatically know they, as you say, Yvette, they know nothing and they're not a person worth having the conversation with. So as we look at in this time of this post-Harvey aftermath, I want you to pay very close attention to the narratives that are being built. And if you're a person that really hasn't been working for black people up to now, and it took Harvey to give you $25,000 or something like that, you are a suspect to me. And I just, because as I said last week, it's been raining on black people for a very long time, and it didn't just start with Hurricane Harvey. So that's all I want to say, guys.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. As always, he's dropping knowledge. Mr. Hampton, always he's dropping knowledge. I appreciate that. He said a lot, but he's right. And the one thing I love about when he calls, he gives you how you can, like, I remember the other time he called, he said, I always watch how black people reacting around white people. Like, that's my barometer. And he dropped knowledge again today. So, I appreciate every time you call, Ms. Hampton. I appreciate that. So, you ready to go into the next call? Because after that, we're going to have some, I want to talk about 2 calls. I want to talk about some other stuff.
Hello?
Hey, caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is John. I'm calling from San Bernardino. How are you doing?
California.
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Making money and whatnot.
Oh, that's good.
The one thing I wanted to say about this Houston thing is I've seen an article in USA Today, and it's dated on August 28th, and they have basically an article covering Houston as the main headline. But right underneath that is an exclusive which says Trump plans to rearm police with battlefield equipment.
Yep.
This sounds like Katrina all over again.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, after everything happened, the police brutality, whatever, Obama and them were kind of well, maybe not. Maybe police don't need grenade launchers and everything people have in the battlefield. But, that's over. They're going to get police are going to get whatever they want under Trump. Whatever they want. If they want something that's going to just, drop, a bunch of grenades at one time, they're going to get it. So, yeah, I saw that in the news, too. And I said, well, this is where we're headed.
But how do black people, as we are right now, protect ourselves, start to strategize against that?
I mean, I think the only way to begin to strategize against any of this is community. You cannot strategize against any of this alone. The thing is, we're so resistant against getting together as a community and starting to do stuff. And we have a lot of good organizers out there. I'm not saying anything against them. They really are trying. They up against a lot. They're up against propaganda. They're up against this super capitalist hip hop. They're up against a whole lot to try to get us to come together and put our minds together and figure something out. And that's what and even some of us, we don't want to do it, but you want to be the first one to cry when something happens. You want to be the first one to get on TV when something happens and talk about your brother was a good man. But then if I were to approach you in the street and say, hey, let's organize, we got a meeting going on next week, you would want to do it. So I think the first step towards doing anything is to realize that there is no future for the black community unless we understand that we are a community and we live together or we die together. Your choice.
Thank you. You have become my speaker box for all the thoughts that I was having about that. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Take care, Irmy.
Enjoy your night.
Man. All right. One more and you want to talk? Or what's up?
One more and then we're going to put up your boy.
Hello?
Hey, caller, where you calling from? What's your name?
What's going
What's going on?
on? This is Chris from Cleveland, Ohio. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Big fan of the show. 2 questions.
Okay.
One of them is,
Ian,
how New Orleans was with Katrina?
Uh-huh.
Where, New Orleans going to Houston and other cities and the violence rate going up.
Uh-huh.
I want to know, do you think that would be a possibility with, the people from Houston relocating to St. Louis, Memphis, and Atlanta?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's certainly a possibility that black people get moved again, and poor people do poor things.
Yeah,
it's not about black
money.
culture being wrong or these black people got problems. No, poor people do poor stuff. When the ethnic whites, before the New Deal happened, when they moved here, they were running around the streets doing all kind of crime with switchblades and running black people's way and doing all kind of stuff that people don't talk about no more. Poor people do poor stuff. So if they go somewhere and you go somewhere and you don't have no job, I expect crime to go up wherever you go if you don't have any opportunity. But I think the government we live in the richest country in the world. You have enough money to provide that, but you won't. And then we said, why don't you just get a job? Ain't enough jobs. Certainly not enough to pay for rent in these places. So I think all of that is a possibility. I think all of it is a possibility. So, if somebody just asks, I'm gonna just say a little bit. I'm just say something. You can put it up. I'm just say one thing about it. This is the silver lining. There's one silver line that I have seen, and this whole debacle in the last 2 days.
You leave my man alone.
This little snake right here is finally getting revealed. Lord.
Should I tell the people who we're talking about?
No, just put him up.
Okay.
Put him up.
My uncle, though.
Put him up. I love when the snake. Ooh, Joel Osteen, they've been dragging you for about 3 days. And I could not be happier. Listen, and don't tell me, Yvette's getting on the church. No, a lot of churches do wonderful things in the community. I'm going over there. I'm going up to Simmons College, St. Stephen's. We're going, it's St. Stephen's Church. We're going to do some stuff. They believe in black politics. I love them for it. This dude right here. Oh, he's a clown. He's a crook. Like, there's a great clip. I meant to bring it and I forgot. Forgive me. But there's a great clip of him right before the interview where he doesn't know he's on air. He's so uncomfortable. He's so annoyed that he has to have a conversation. The man lives in what can only be described as a multi-castle. He ain't never had. And then he said, you know what?
A castle on top of a castle.
That's a castle on top of a castle with a bunch of little castles around it. You should have seen. Listen, I heard his brother-in-law. I guess that's his spokesman now. I don't know. But I heard the brother-in-law giving an interview. And the brother-in-law said, our doors will never close. The night of the hurricane, we took in 10 people. 10 people, he said. He said we took it. He said that. I heard him say. He said we took it. And then they released the video of flooding in 2 parts of the church. Do you know how big that sanctuary is? And then the man said, well, we had not been there. He said, listen, there is a shelter a few blocks away. That means take your wet, soggy butt and go a few blocks away and do what you got to do, but you can't do it here. And they said, well, we had not been designated. God's supposed to be the one to designate you, Joe. If you were real, God should have designated you, but you ain't real. You ain't real. You a fraud, so it don't matter. God's supposed to designate you to do that. You ain't supposed to have to wait on nobody to designate you. You didn't want a bunch of wet, poor people in your church. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy you being dragged. I don't like prosperity gospel. I don't like you. And this man don't even say, I'm not even one who will criticize people who talk, but this man don't even say nothing that's biblical. You ever watched Tim Iron Me? You ever watched a Sunday of Joe Osteen? I have.
Tell me about it.
It ain't nothing biblical about it. Ain't no verse. Ain't know nothing about the Bible. It's just a pep talk. Well, one day I woke up. He just smiling real. I saw the sun. And I knew what the sun meant. The sun meant that I was going to be shining. Ladies and gentlemen, hold your Bibles up high. If you don't shut the hell up, Joel Osteen, and go somewhere, you don't want to let poor people into your house of worship. Do you know what sanctuary means?
He'll take those tithe, though. He'll take those tithe, though.
He'll take your tithe.
Take that on your little minimum wage check. He'll take his 10%.
They fly on a private jet. Did you know it?
Yeah. He'll take that tithe on your little wet dollar
private
bill.
Jet.
Yeah.
Then the Muslims let people in. They said the Islamic churches said they didn't need nobody to tell them when let in.
He didn't wait for the mountain to come to them.
No, they just do. This is the right thing to do.
Okay.
Sometimes you just know what the right thing to do is and what the wrong thing to do, and you do the right thing. But you don't want to be cleaning your church up after these people. And he was just, I
don't want to be cleaning no
church. Can
somebody,
I've come in contact with a good deal of good pastors. Can some of y'all clean out these prosperity people, please? I mean, what is the problem? Can you get rid of these prosperity gospel? Hold your Bible. That ain't gonna, if you don't shut up. You don't, how you gonna say hold your Bible and you ain't mentioned a verse from the Bible the whole sermon? You're supposed to know how to preach the good book. How you don't know how to preach the good book and you telling me to hold the Bible? I want you to talk about what's in it. You're supposed to be a shepherd. I'm supposed to be your flock. Joel Osteen don't do nothing every Sunday but a pep rally anyway. It baffles me how he got to be so popular.
He's got good teeth. But he's popular with us. That's what I don't understand.
But he's popular with them too. I don't understand it either. Ain't no oomph to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's like eating kale instead of collard greens all the time and thinking it's the same thing. It's too much chewing with kale. I don't want to do all that chewing all the time. I ain't no cow. I don't want no cud. So I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. He said, you know, he's having a lot of problems. Joel Osteen's having a lot of problems. He didn't let nobody in that house either. That's a huge house. He didn't let nobody in his house. Have you seen his house? Like, when you get off of here, I want y'all to go and look at his house. That's it. Just go and look at his house. That's all you got to do. I want you to go and look at his house and then tell me that this man is a man of God. Not no God I serve. No, please. Not no God I serve. He don't serve the same. Let me tell you, if we can get rid of Joel Osteen, that will be a plus. Now, it won't make up for nothing, but that will be a silver lining in this, that he has been revealed as a fraud. And then TMZ reported that the hotel next door was doing just fine. When he said he was flooding the house, the hotel next door was booming. Well, we had all kind of, we couldn't let but 10 people in. That's your Texas pastor. Ladies and gentlemen, hold up your Bibles. If you don't get that man away from me, you can go take the next car. I just had to hit on Joel Osteen, honey. He's just too much.
All right, so Antonio, I'm going to read this. Antonio just gave a quote.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, from Master P. This is from Master P.
Okay.
On Master P's generosity. I am blessed that Kevin Hart made a donation, but I feel that he don't have to do that because it's not necessary. A lot of people are going to do what they want to do. It's their money, said the No Limit head honcho in an interview clip here, suggesting that strong-arming people into donating money isn't really the way. So after disclosing, he made a hefty donation himself without revealing the exact amount. He added, well, let them give from the heart, whatever you can do, small or little. People need food, water, transportation. So he got some heat. He gave a little bit of money. He's not going to tell us how much. That's Master P.
$1,000 what he gave.
$1,000. How much is the minimum?
How much is the minimum? The thing is, that's how Master P made it so big, though.
Exactly.
Like, you don't get it. Like, we don't get it. Like, being selfish is how you make it.
Right.
Like, how many little No Limit rappers did he come up off of? And they in the ghetto still, and he's still doing the breakfast.
You know what's free, though? Like saying, Ted Cruz, you need to fight for your people. And get your FEMA in there. Like, that's free. I'd like our political leaders, because like $10,000 here, $25,000 is nothing.
Like I said, I don't
you
have
get
no
government
problem
to give the $160 billion it's going to cost.
And why would you have a problem with Kevin Hart doing that? Like,
it makes him look bad.
I know Kevin Hart don't have the money like a lot of white stars, but I salute him for saying let's give 25 apiece. That's a good thing. So why would you do that? Maybe Master P, you just don't have the money either. It's all right. You can go home and sit down. Nobody asked you, like, who keeps, like, I fought the Breakfast Club and all. Stop asking Master P what he think and what he feel. He's just somebody who looked up on something, came out. We don't need to know how Master P feel about stuff. Stop asking him how he feel and what he think and everything. He's been embroiled in a bunch of controversy about all kinds of stuff with other rappers and people he was trying to manage and wiggle his way into anyway. I don't need to know nothing about nothing he got to say. Go on about your business. You ain't got to tell me. So let's see if we can take another call, all right?
Oh, we're taking a look at you. Want to talk to the people tonight?
Yes, let's talk to the people. That's what we're here for.
All right.
Hello, Breaking Bell family.
Hey, brother, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Cerulean Gray. This is Cerulean Gray calling from St. Paul.
Okay.
This is the second time calling into your show. I'm a supporter of the show. It was kind of hard to top the caller from like 2 callers ago. I actually have a gift for you. It's a question. I'm a social scientist here in St. Paul.
Okay.
I actually have political education program here at Down for the Cause LLC. I work with a wonderful guy named Brother Arnis. He's the founder.
Okay.
And I do political re-education every 2 weeks. And I know how it is dealing with black folks and trying to organize them. It's like corralling cats, as a friend of mine says.
That's true.
But the question is, before a conversation even gets started up, and you want to know if you're talking to someone who's actually smart enough to engage the conversation or a complete imbecile, the only question that they need to answer is how many people does a potato feed? And the reason that is because a lot of black people, especially that believe that we're going to build black businesses and do all of this great stuff, which actually is tantamount to nothing more than a side hustle in the greater spectrum of things. What happens is, you see, if you have 100 potatoes and 100 people, right, and you have one person that controls 90 of those potatoes, okay, that leaves 99 people fighting over 10 potatoes. Now, say for instance that one person that owns the 90 potatoes, he needs protection, so he rises up this false middle class, and he brings up 10 guys, and he disperses out 10 potatoes to those guys, and those 10 guys end up accumulating 9 more potatoes to sustain their false middle class, right? Now you're left with 89 people fighting over 1 potato. And what happens is the people that are closest to getting into the middle class, they get the prime parts of the potato, and then the poor and the working poor, less fortunate of us, end up fighting over the leftover skins. With black folks being 14% of the population and only controlling about half of a percent of the country's wealth, we are tantamount to 14 starving individuals fighting.
I did it.
I can't take no more potatoes. I'm sorry.
No, it was just.
I understand he was trying to. I can't take it. I can't take no more potatoes. I can't. I get it, but I don't want to do no word problem, Carla. I don't want to do no word problem. Why don't you just tell me?
Stuff.
Just get to the end of it. I appreciate your call. I appreciate you being supportive, but damn, I don't want to hear nothing about no potatoes. You took me all the way through a potato example. God damn. Can we go to the next call, please? Hey, Carla, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Don from Texas, Dallas.
Hey.
Hey. I just had a few things here regarding the Houston flood there.
Okay.
You kind of have to know the lay of the land down in Houston.
Okay.
And as you were saying, most black folks that are in Houston live in the southern part of Houston and the southeast part of Houston, which is going down around all those chemical plants and et cetera.
Okay.
But the main thing I think about Houston, it's just going to be a total, complete mess trying to get it back to where it once was. And as you said, the infrastructure is a mess. It's always been a mess in Houston. And they're probably going to have to redo the whole infrastructure. But at the same time, yes, our black people has been devastated down there. I've got friends and family there. And at the same time, too, a lot of those other people that are up in North Houston and Northwest Houston, they got a lot of flooding problems, too. And watching them on the Weather Channel, they're showing a lot of the white folks getting in the boats. Like you said, the people picking them up with all the little puppies and dogs and cats. But when you see the black folks, it's like they go pick out a few just to show you that they're getting saved or whatever, too. So, but the refineries down there, they're a total mess. They shut down a lot of those refineries. And what happened was that they had to burn off a lot of the fuel and everything to shut those refineries down, and all this black smoke and just nasty stuff came out of these stacks, and it's really a mess down there. So I don't know what the answer will be as far as people in general, but as you said, their homes, they've lost a lot of them, and no flood insurance, and with the saturated grounds, you're going to have foundation problems, everything with houses down there.
I agree.
So,
thank you, Carl. I appreciate you calling in.
There's a lot going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, now. Thank you for the donations, people. I appreciate it. Iron's over there typing like fire. I don't know. So we're going to let that. Listen, today is the birthday.
Oh, okay. This is a very important
someone
clip.
that we have mentioned before on this show. It is August the 30th. This person was born August the 30th, 1948, and was assassinated. It's the December the 4th, 1969. And we have used, some of y'all told us to use this clip every time we ended the show. And we might do it eventually, but it shows you the importance of political education. And I want everybody, if you don't get anything else I ever said, if you haven't gotten this clip, I want you to get this clip into your mind, okay? I want you to get this clip into your head. And I want to wish Fred, I want to wish Fred Hampton happy birthday. He's dead and gone because he was assassinated. But I want to say, thank you for everything that he's done. And I'm gonna leave you with that. Of course, you all can go to breakandbrown.com and donate and subscribe to the newsletter. But right now, I want to leave you with Fred Hampton to talk about political education, and he says it better than I can about why political education is necessary. So I'm gonna leave you with that this evening, okay?
So just real quickly, there's a group that called in Chairman Fred to come take a look at their stuff because they wanted to start a Black Panther-like group, and this is what Fred Hampton has to say to them.
He breaks it all the way down.
Oh man.
What you do?
No, the sound is low.
You basically knowing my ideology, basically you knowing me knowing yours, you can support some of our programs. Is that what you're saying?
Why not?
And you believe in programs like the Breast of Children program and free health clinics? Right on, brothers?
We believe they're good things.
To the side,
As a focal point to organize their mothers and fathers. Peace.
There's no educational program here?
That's come out of the social action thing. You set that up, bro. I mean, we can't put everything on one piece of paper.
What about this bank?
Credit union? Credit union. Credit union, my brother.
Is a bank.
Are you hip to credit unions? It is a bank.
Yeah, you go and borrow money?
Yeah, it's a bank. It's a bank. Owned by the people. Run for the people. And by the people.
What will money be given out to people for?
Well, the people would decide that. You want to buy, whatever, the people in the community decide. You need some living room furniture, maybe? You need a car, maybe?
See, the thing is with me, you dig, I need to know some more about it. I wish you had some more literature about the educational thing here. Because, you dig, as far as we're concerned in the struggle, the way we look at struggle is that this depends on the educational thing, you dig. Because
this depends on the education. Well, the whole thing.
No, but in the end, this does. You can form this with no education. You can form this and this.
No, not the way we're talking about forming it. Right. We're talking about forming it right. It's not on the paper. We didn't write it on the paper.
You can form it right with no education.
No.
Let me give you an example. Yomo Kenyatta formed the excellent revolution with no education. And on the day of the end thing, Yomo told the motherfucker, said, well, you can educate, hate the enemy, but I'm your brother. I'll help you lead the revolution. Now I'm more pressure. Another example, Papa Doc in Haiti. Papa Doc in Haiti hated everything white. Man, you couldn't put this white paper in front of Papa Doc's face, but he moved all the white people out and he took over and be oppressed. He did, causing no education. And the people that had been educated, they just said that we don't hate the motherfucking white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow. So we got to know the educational program to find out what is going to be in the finale. A lot of people, Jomo Kenyatta is called not a never a revolutionary, but an ex-revolutionary. So is Papa Doc. They brought on a successful revolution. That thing in the Mao's was a bitch. Bantu freedom fighters, all that kind of action. What we saying is that it's the end. That you don't judge Castro now. You can't do it. Nobody in this room could judge whether Castro's going to be a revolutionary or not. You know what I mean? We're talking about things, you know what I mean, with China, the People's Republic, and even at the stage they're in now, talking about even going on further into a communistic state. That's what we're talking about. Those are revolutionary. So we got to understand here the educational program that you have to be able to figure out whether it will go on the right lines where the people will end up in a situation where they can be able to really control themselves. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, the people that take this local foundation and start stealing money because they won't be really educated to why it's the people's thing anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa now, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be an educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionalist movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be capitalists. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists.